Your Honor.
So that means for those interested in the receipt, that's not in the plans of the COMELEC. Kasi from their point of view, 100% ano na sila ready na for the paper. Yes, again, follow up from Congressman De La Cruz.
Well, if that is the case, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to find out what seems to be the problem with this paper trail as far as the receipt is concerned, because that has always been a big issue as far as transparency is concerned. So we just wanted to find out from the COMELEC what seems to be the problem and what seems to be the alternative, if there's going to be any alternative at all as far as this thing is concerned.
If I may respond, Mr. Chairman. Again, if you look at jurisprudence in Roque versus COMELEC, the so-called VVPAT, or the Verified Voter Paper Audit Trail, was referred to by the Supreme Court as the ballot itself. So when you insert the ballot into the machine takes an image of the ballot. And in that case, they did say that that was really the paper audit trail referred to in the law. However, the current vote counting machine has the capability of printing a receipt. Now, we looked at the advantages and disadvantages. Definitely, there is an advantage of transparency and accuracy if you print the receipt. However, there are also several disadvantages. The first disadvantage is the issue of vote buying. As we know, this is a practice in many parts of the country, and if we print a receipt, it would really make it very easy for a voter to collect from the candidate that he or she promised his or her vote to. So that's one. Second is the issue of time. We estimated that it will take about 13 seconds to print a receipt, another 15 to 20 seconds to read the printout, and again, several minutes in order to change the ribbon once the paper is finished. It will add about 5 to 7 hours to the voting time. And again, as you know, one of the challenges of our elections is the long lines, the long queues, and we believe, again, this will be a deterrent, or it may disincentivize voters to vote on election day. Number three, we also know that sometimes there can be a discrepancy between how a machine counts the vote depending on how the voter shaded the oval. So because of that, there is a possibility that there is a bit of difference in the numbers. Number four, and this one is also a big concern for us, is, as we know, there might be losing candidates who might question, the results, basically instructing their supporters that when the machine prints out a receipt, regardless of what the receipt says, they will say that it is not correct. And again, this kind of an organized conspiracy of a losing candidate can really cast doubt on the credibility of the elections. And that's why when the Commission and Bank deliberated on this matter, the Commission and Bank voted 7-0 not to enable the feature of printing a receipt.
So, what is the alternative if we are not going to have that? I can appreciate what the good chairman is telling us, Mr. Chairman, that the ballot itself can become the printed receipt. But there are certain sectors that are advising and telling us that that may not be enough for the purpose, and therefore, if it is possible, perhaps if there are some members or stakeholders who are here who may be able to give us some information about this, perhaps you can give them time.
Mr. Chair.
There are other ideas, but Congressman Ortega wants to ask a question. Attorney Chong, you're next. You will be next.
I heard the term long lines during election day. My only question, Mr. Chairman, is, has the COMELEC considered special consideration for the disabled and the senior citizens during the voting?
Yes, we have, Mr. Chairman. In fact, that's one of our priorities, that, in the setting up of accessible polling precincts. One of the things also, and again, we have here Commissioner Louis Guia, who has been the advocate for this activities since he started with the COMELEC. We're also looking at conducting an accessibility audit of the various polling centers, and that also we're looking to improve the signages come election day, because also one of our insights in previous elections is that the voters get confused in respect of where to line up, how to find their precincts. So we would also like to improve the signages in our polling centers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Does that mean, Mr. Chairman, that the disabled voters will be voting in the same voting centers with the rest of the voters? You will not separate them in the malls or any other special voting center only for the disabled voters?
There are some of the disabled voters, the PWDs and the senior citizens, that will be allowed to vote in the mall as an accessible polling precinct. But also, as I said, we are looking out for their convenience and for their comfort. So it has to be proximate to their residence.
But how will they know, and when will they know that they have been moved? Kasi with all the political noise and the how busy we are with our lives, then when and how will they know?
Hearings have been conducted already, public hearings in respect of this proposal, and they will get to know. We already are about to make a final decision in respect of polling precincts that will be transferred. The numbers are, as I said, not, again, when you look at 54.3 million, really this is more a pilot project. Again, as we look for ways and means to enhance the voting experience. But rest assured, Mr. Chairman, that they will be properly notified. As I said, notices were already sent out, and public hearings on the various localities have been conducted.
Iba yung hearing. Yung hearing kasi is whether the voters like the idea
That's
or not.
correct.
But in implementing it, ang dami nyo ng problema. Well, dagdagan nyo pa ng problema. Anyway, every time the COMELEC, my personal opinion is that they should go slow in mall voting, because they might not have the proper legal basis to move it to malls. But I noticed yung order nyo for headphones. Is that related to the disabled voting?
Yes.
You have order for headphones.
That's correct.
And question ko, what is that for?
That is for the for those who are visually impaired, and for those who are illiterate, who need an assistor to vote. And therefore, this is a mechanism that will allow the voter to verify whether or not the assistor really followed his or her instructions. Because you will hear the names of the candidates that you voted for.
Okay, so the illiterate voters will be given this feature. There is a vote. There is a system which will now inform the voter of how the machine counted his or her vote. You know, yun? Through voice.
That's right. As to who the voter voted for, according to how the assistor filled out the ballot.
Yes. But how about the ordinary voter, the literate voter? Will you use now the screen to tell him?
Well, that's the thing that we are debating upon, and in fact, later on, we would like to show it to the members of the committee so that you can appreciate better what this feature is.
No decision yet. Yun ang gusto mo sabihin. As of this
there
moment.
was a preliminary, but no hard decision yet.
Where is the preliminary decision leaning? Towards activating the screen or not activating it, in terms of informing the voter how the machine counted his votes?
As I stated earlier, in respect of the printing of the receipt, the vote was 7-0.
Iba yun, sir. Iba
yun. Dito, it was 4-2 ang not to activate. But again, as I said, hindi pa But please, we would, also perhaps it would interest the committee to know that we have been conducting consultations with various stakeholders in respect of these features to find out. I think PPCRB came out with a position paper, and there are other groups that have told us what they thought. But we will also would like to solicit the observations and the suggestions of the committee in respect of these matters.
But these new machines have a bigger screen, no, compared to the ones we have used in the past two elections. Tama?
We have brought both machines, so you will see
so
the
it's,
difference.
Yeah, it's bigger.
Yes.
For the record, it's bigger.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so Attorney Chong.
Mr. Chair.
Attorney Chong, excuse me. So Congressman De La Cruz.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before Attorney Chong comes out with
Transfers. Okay, so Attorney Chong, finally.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I would like to object more doubly now than ever before. It seems that the COMELEC is already prepared to give voter verifiability to our PWDs, whereas for the general public, no provision can be granted. I find it so absurd, Your Honor. It's so absurd that karamihan no tayo, we're able-bodied, we can read, we can write, yet we are prevented from verifying our ballots. Whereas the few PWDs, without bias to them, they are willing to allot money for them so that they can verify it through their ears. Whereas tayo, hindi pwede. I find it so absurd, Your Honor. But I would like to answer point by point yung sinabi po ni Chairman. Nag-submit po kami ng position paper with this Joint Congressional Oversight Committee, and we would like to request her to use the projector to show our proposed uniform physical setup to answer the concerns of COMELEC. Para ho mapag-usapan natin ang husto, sir.
Okay, can we prepare the screen? But in the meantime,
Absolutely, sir. Yes, sir.
Attorney Chong, si Attorney Makalintal wanted to say something.
Thank you,
Related,
Your Honor.
yes.
Sir Chairman, I just want to ask from the Commission on Elections how many ballots would be used during the field testing, Your Honors, per precinct?
Referring to the January 29 and February 5 field tests or the FTS?
No, they are from the May 2 to 6 final testing.
It's 10 ballots, sir.
10 ballots, so there will be about 940,000 ballots.
92,509 times 10, so yeah.
940,000 ballots. Yeah. Now, also, under the law, it is provided that 3 additional ballots per precinct will be printed by the COMELEC. Is that still complied with by the Commission on Elections for this election?
No, Your Honor. For the teacher?
No, no.
I think
for the ballots, because the law says that the COMELEC should print 1 ballot per registered voter with an additional 3 ballots per precinct.
The COMELEC interpreted the 3 additional ballots as ballots for the BEI.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
since there is rarely 100% turnout, the teachers can use the ballots in the precinct to vote.
Yeah. And also in connection with the issue on the receipts of the ballots, I fully agree with the COMELEC that there is a danger in printing or giving receipts to the voters in terms of vote buying and in terms of delaying the conduct of the election. Likewise, if we issue a receipt, or if the COMELEC would issue a receipt, the proposal there is that the voter cannot bring home the receipt, but that the receipt will be deposited in a separate ballot box. Now, if we have a separate ballot box, then we have to assign 1 personnel to guard that ballot box. And when we say that we have to guard those ballot boxes for the receipts, we are talking of about 93,000 clustered precincts. And per personnel, I think the allowance there is 6,000 pesos per day. And we are talking of 93,000 precincts times 6,000, that's about 558 million pesos additional budget for the COMELEC. I wonder if the COMELEC has that budget, Your Honor. So I fully agree that the COMELEC has the power not to issue that receipt, and it's just a matter of trusting the system. Ang problema kasi sa atin, wala tayong tiwala sa sistema. na nawili na lang tayo, na hindi tayo nagtitiwala sa sistema because of our culture of mistrust. But if you could trust the COMELEC and the way the COMELEC is now conducting itself, then I think that there's no need for us to pursue this issue on issuing receipts during election time. Thank you very much, sir.
Your Honor.
Let's go back
I
to
think-
Attorney Chong. What will this be about and how long will
It's
your presentation
just
be?
not much, mga fit 10 minutes all in all to
What
answer.
is it about
Chairman.
the-
It's to answer the charges of vote buying.
And the paper trail?
Yes, of course,
sige.
Your Honor. And also to answer Attorney Maracalintal on his concern about the ballots being guarded, we will show it how this
Okay,
can be
so
done
tama, okay.
without additional cost to the government.
Okay, can we listen to the presentation of Attorney Chong?
Your Honor, let me begin. Ang sabi po ni Chairman Bautista na there's a decision in Roque Jr. versus COMELEC that was decided by the Supreme Court 10 months before the 2010 elections. In other words, the Supreme Court was looking not at the actual operation of the election on election day, but on capabilities of the machine. Now, I have read that portion of the decision ang nakalagay ho doon, isang paragraph lang po. At hindi ho sinabi, malinaw nung hindi sinabi ng Korte Suprema na ang ballot paper is the voter verified paper o the trail. That was simply an obiter, and we know as lawyers that ang isang obiter does not set precedent. Thus, the court is not bound to rule the same way because it is not a precedent. Now, and also, Your Honor, the subject matter of Republic Act 9369 is the Automated Election System Law. Now, kung ang balota ho ng botante ang voter verified paper o the trail, it could not have been supposed by the law that the voter will verify himself. What the law presupposes is that the ballot must first enter into the machine to be processed by the automated election system before it can be considered as the proper subject of voter verifiability. Dapat to, hindi ho posible, sir, na ang balota ko, na ako ang nagsumulat, ako rin ang magbe-verify ng sarili ko. Because the subject matter of the law is the automated election system. Therefore, the ballot must first fall into the machine before it can be the proper subject of verification. Otherwise, the interpretation of the good chairman is rather misplaced. Now, next slide na lang po. I will not discuss anymore the fraudulent schemes. Let's talk about the time and motion considerations that the COMELEC had been talking about, sir. We make a comparison in comparison one between 2013 and 2016 elections. There are 51.3 million voters multiplied by the turnout rate of 77.57% in 2013, divided by spread over 77,829 PICOs. The average voting population per cluster precinct is 512 po. We had 12 hours of operation. That means each voter used 1 minute and 25 seconds to cast his ballot on the average. In 2016, however, we have 54.3 million registered voters at a projected turnout rate of 80%, spread over 92,509 VCMs, or an average only of 470 voters per clustered precinct. So all in all, sir, we will save at least 1 hour in these coming elections po. And that's the computation. Wala pong pinakitang computation ng COMELEC. Sa live lang po nila. Now, with respect to comparison number 2, on printed voters receipt and slip the screen. Ito ho yung dalawang comparison, sir. If you have 470 registered voters, average, using 13 seconds per receipt, you would need 6,110 seconds or 102 minutes all in all. Meron tayong savings na 1 hour this time. So the net extended voting time would simply be 42 minutes. However, sabi ho ni Marlon Garcia, I talked to him personally, and he can confirm it, that 13 seconds is quite long. That's what your words, Mr. Garcia, right? That was what your words when you told me. It's about half that one. Sabi mo, you said that. Okay, half lang daw, sir. So 6.5 seconds lang pala. Times 470 on the average is 3,055 seconds or 51 minutes. So meron tayong savings na 1 hour. So meron pala tayong net extended voting time of -9 minutes. So actually, we will end up 9 minutes earlier, even if we print the resibo. Now, if we go to the slip, the screen, we have 470 voters, and the COMELEC has set it arbitrarily at 30 seconds per voter, you would need 14,100 seconds, or 235 minutes, or 3 hours and 55 minutes. Plus minus 1 hour of saving time, you have to add 2 hours and 55 minutes. That means your voting precincts will close around 10 o'clock in the evening po. Now here we go. We propose, in other words po sir, between these two propositions, between the printed resibo and the slip the screen, it would really look like the slip the screen will really consume so much time. And what about if nauna ho si Lolo at si Lola? At maghahanap pa ho siya ng kanyang salamin. You will necessarily hold the next voter at bay. So hindi ho logically and physically feasible yung sinasabi nilang slip the screen. The resibo remains to be the most viable alternative to give us that transparency and credibility. Hindi ho sapat na sasabihin sa ating maniwala lang tayo sa sasabihin nila. Next slide please. And this is what we are proposing to the COMELEC. Our proposed uniform physical layout of precincts, classrooms po. Pagpasok po ng botante, diretso kayo sa BEI, who is manning the polls. Verify yourself there, sign the book, election day certified voters list, and then you go to the middle to vote. Meron na ho kayong dalang balota. Pagdating ho sa linya, when you become green, may ibig sabihin, kayo na ho ang boboto, bibigyan kayo ng resibo. So as you walk from the one end of the room where the PICOS is situated, no, the VCM pala, the VCM is situated, you will be afforded the opportunity to verify your vote individually. That's what we call the individual verification. Upon reaching the end of the classroom where the ballot box is situated, and we do not need another teacher to guard it because nandun ho yung tatlong watcher at nandun din po si accredited citizens arm, yung si Blue. So nandun ho nakabantay si Blue at yung watchers ho nandun ho. They will be the one to make sure that the resibo is really dropped in the old ballot box. Now, ito na po. If walang discrepancy, you will have to drop it in that old ballot box right away. If meron pong discrepancy, nobody has the right to stop the elections. Let's make it clear. Walang makakapagpigil sa halalan. All you have to do, sir, is you have to tell the watchers to take note that there is something wrong with his receipt as to the position, not the voted candidate because of the ballot secrecy concerns. There is a reason, sir, why we need to know the position, because that's what Chairman Bautista said kanina. What if hindi na-shade ng maayos at nagkaroon ng problema at hindi binasa ng makina? We will have the data to look around across the country for post-election analysis so that we will be able to improve the system better. Now, on the other hand, pag na may mandaraya po, ay makikita mo na po ang pattern. Palaging si Mayor po ang nirereklamo. Di po ba? Palaging si Mayor ang nirereklamo in this presinto. Palaging si Presidente ang nirereklamo in that presinto. Si Konsihal naman ang nireklamo doon sa presinto na yon. We will be able to see a pattern. Dito pa lang, makikita na natin a pattern in the cheating, kung meron cheating. And assuming it will likely happen without the resibo. Now, as soon as matapos na ho, you drop it there. When you go out, even if you will raise your hands, you will not have any ballot to speak about. You mean, wala ka resibo. Wala hong vote buying ipapakita sa labas ng presinto. Now, next slide please. After po, ito po yung collective individual verification. After po ng halalan, dalawang teacher pupunta yan sa PICOS o BCM na ngayon. And then, it will take them 2 hours to print the 30 copies of election returns. Sinabi ho nila kanina, 30 copies, so that's correct. 30 copies po yan ng election returns. Samantalang, yung isang teacher naman, lilipat doon sa yellow ballot box, nandun na yung mga watchers at si accredited citizens arm. They will open the ballot box, agree among themselves kung sino po ang gusto nilang bibilangin. Hindi ho ang lahat. Because this will take the form of the random manual audit. Because the names in the resibo are already printed, hindi na po matagal ang bilangan. Doon tayo natatagalan sa pagsulat dati in mano-mano. But because this is printed, mabilis ho ang bilangan. Besides, you're not going to bilang everything. Ang bibilangan lang ho mo, pwede ho Pangulo, Vice Pangulo, to make sure that we have really a rightly elected, truly elected President and Vice President, o kung local official man, si Mayor, si Congressman, si Governor. So pagkatapos hunan, after you have your manual verification count, which you counted openly and publicly, you will compare that with the VCM count, which was counted secretly. Kasi po kung may dayaan, it will have to happen inside the PICOS. It will have to happen inside that machine. So, wala ho tayong paraan na ma-verify natin kung tama ho ba talaga ang pagbilang. Because ang pagbilang ho nasa loob ng makina na yan. We will not be able to see anything there, except that we will have the means to verify na yung sinabi ng makinang iyan ay tama dahil meron tayong resibo. And so, because of this, sir, we will have absolute honesty and transparency guaranteed by two things, individual voter verification and collective vote verification. Wala hong mandadaya dyan. Now, next slide please. Ito po yung procedure, sir. We have outlined the procedure. We have given the position paper to COMELEC, and I hope they will... No, they have not considered it because they are not printing the resibo, but I don't really see any reason. As to the organized conspiracy po, sir, we have to understand, Your Honor, that the law is very harsh on electoral sabotage and election offenses. Wala hong magdrama doon sa presinto, Chairman, para sabihing dinaya siya doon. Otherwise, you will risk prosecution, which are actually, the tools are within your hands, within the hands of the Commission, to instill fear on this organized conspiracy thing. Pwede hong matakot sila, sir, because this is a non-bailable offense, and you have the power absolutely in your hands to go after them. So, hindi ho...
Are you done, Attorney Chong?
Hindi. Tapos na po yan, sir.
Okay, can you give the panel also a copy?
Yes, I will give you a copy, sir. And then, finally ho, sir...
Can you end, please, sir?
Yung isa pa hong sinabi ni Chairman about the changing the ribbon. This is thermal printing, sir. Wala hong ribbon dyan gagamitin. There is no ribbon gagamitin dyan.
Thermal
paper.
Change the paper.
And then, sir, finally, Your Honor, we asked the COMELEC to set the rules by which we can conduct exit polls. We have to conduct exit polls across the country, meaning to say, we will simulate the voting inside the precinct doon sa labas ng polling center. Just to make sure, kung hindi ho tayo bibigyan ng resibo, we will go into massive exit polls outside according to the Supreme Court in ABS-CBN versus COMELEC, GR number 1333486, exit polls are allowed and it cannot be banned by the COMELEC. So we would ask them to provide the rules. And finally, sir, yung random manual audit, sir, we propose that the identification of the clustered precincts to be subjected to the random manual audit can only be made after the electronic transmission have commenced. Kasi anytime before po mag-commence yung resulta, meron pa hong chance na ma-identify yung presinto at hindi yon lalabas yung daya doon.
Okay, so we will ask for the mechanics of the random manual audit later. So, one question to the, kasi medyo specific presentation, is it already too late for that?
Too late.
Kasi nag-order na kayong papel, tapos na. I mean, close na yung mind ng COMELEC. There will be no receipt given to the voter. Tapos na po yan. Is that what you're telling us?
Well, as I said, Mr. Chairman, nagkonsulta na po kami sa iba't ibang mga stakeholders. Pinag-aralan na po namin. Tinignan namin. At again, in fairness to Attorney Chong, merong mga magagandang punto siyang sinabi. Although, I think one thing na hindi niya inano is yung pag-print nung resibo, iba din dun sa pagbasa. It takes time to read it Okay, tapos
okay na yung reasons not to adopt. Basta, the decision is final na po yun. Kasi ang report ninyo, satisfied na kayo sa paper supply ninyo. That means you will not really be giving receipts. Okay?
Yeah, walang unless, but talaga, you can always bid out for the paper. But talagang kami, collectively, as I said, it was a 7-0 vote. We really believe that the disadvantages of printing a receipt far outweigh the advantages.
So,
Your Honor,
that's why
clarify
ko yan, so that those who want to question, to take another step questioning the final decision of the COMELEC can do so, because they have really clarified na final na po yan. Mukhang hindi na magbabagong isip nila.
O naman.
Okay?
Sir, may
Mr.
we
Chairman.
just request the COMELEC? In fairness naman ho, I gave my time to make that presentation and my position paper. Pwede bang sagutin nila point for point yung
But can
the
they do
issue
that?
we raised
Can they do that in writing
so that
to
we can
Attorney
also
Chong?
answer them?
Attorney Chong, can they do that in writing and then just copy furnish the panel?
Meron na ho sila, sir.
So we can pursue other matters.
We have given
Chairman.
them already a copy, Your Honor, and also this
ang ano
JCOC.
ko is they will answer you. Yung request mo for an answer, can you do it in writing, not during this hearing, so that we can pursue the other matters?
Mr. Chairman, 5 seconds.
Yes,
lang
sir.
po.
Former Chairman Brillantes.
Just wanted to say that itong resibo ho, pinag-usapan na ito noong 2010, 7 commissioner, 7 COMELEC, rineject yan. Noong 2013, pinag-usapan na naman yan, dineliberate ng matagal, pinag-usapan na matagal, rineject na naman ng 7 commissioner putting members. Ngayon, 2016, rineject na naman ng 7. Hindi ko alam kung bakit mas magaling pa si Mr. Chong doon sa 21 na commissioners.
Your Honor, it does not necessarily mean that if all the
okay.
COMELECs rejected it, that becomes truthful and legal. It does not, Mr. Brillantes.
Okay, for the record na lang yung answer ni Attorney Chong. But of course, Chairman, you cannot envision ever having a paper receipt in the future. Pwede naman siguro because the law actually allows it. Okay, so, let me read for the record the one paragraph in the decision cited by Attorney Chong. We have clashing interpretations. Isa lang, one paragraph. Tama si Attorney Chong eh. In this particular case. This is the case of Harry Roque Jr. versus COMELEC. Intervenor Quadra's concern relates to the auditability of the election returns. In this regard, it may suffice to point out that PICOS, being a paper-based technology, affords audit since the voter would be able, if need be, to verify if the machine had scanned, recorded, and counted his vote properly. Moreover, it should also be noted that the PICOS machine contains an LCD screen, one that can be programmed or configured to display to the voter his votes as read by the machine. Period. Yun lang po yung isang paragraph. And it mentions 2 features, the paper receipt as well as the screen. So, if you look at the reasoning of the Supreme Court, they took solace in the fact that there is a screen which will show the voter his votes. But for the past 2 elections, I don't know by how many votes, kung 7-0 din ba, disabled din yung screen. Hindi po ba? Sa ngayon, wala pang final decision doon. It's a 4-2 preliminary decision. But, well, that is the paragraph. We are all aware of this paragraph. Tama?
Mr. Chairman.